Welcome to the HPI large-scale video. In this video, we will show you how to handle HPI large-scale models with real gasoline engines. We recommend that you watch the general Getting Started section for all cars on this DVD first for more information about RC cars. Only a few steps are necessary to prepare your car for its first run. But don't forget that it is still essential to read the manual that comes with your car. It is especially important that you read and understand all safety guidelines stated in the manual for handling gasoline-powered cars. First, take off the body shell and mount the aerial tube as shown. Never run the car with a shortened aerial. For proper operation of the radio, a fully extended aerial is vital. To secure the tube in its mount, you can apply a very small amount of superglue. Before each run, check all screws are fully tightened, especially the wheel nuts and the retainer screws in the wheels. Also check for loose ball links in the suspension. Charge the receiver batteries in the car with the supplied charger. Charging the receiver battery will take about 6 hours, so it's best to do this overnight. The standard receiver pack in the car will last for approximately 50 minutes, which is about 1 tank of fuel. Therefore, always make sure that your batteries are fully charged before every run. Weak batteries can cause radio interference and you might lose control over your car. Additional battery packs and fast chargers are available as option parts to give you additional runtime. Also, make sure that your transmitter batteries have sufficient power. See the general Getting Started video for more details about batteries. First, check the radio system and its range, as shown in the general Getting Started video. We will now check and set up the built-in failsafe function of your high-quality HPI TF10 radio system. First, turn on the transmitter and then the receiver. The throttle servo will go to its neutral position. Now, open the rubber flap in the receiver box so that you can see the receiver, and turn off the transmitter to simulate a loss of the radio signal or interference. The red LED on the receiver will now come on to indicate that it has gone into the failsafe mode, and the throttle servo will move to its failsafe position. Use the small blue set screw to adjust the failsafe position so that the brakes are applied, about 50%. Now close the rubber flap and turn the transmitter back on, and the throttle servo will return to its neutral position. Have a quick check of the brakes. Put the car on the ground with the radio turned on. With the throttle in neutral position, the car should roll freely. Apply the brakes and check that the brakes are strong enough to stop the car. You can adjust the brakes by turning the end of the throttle linkage. HPI gasoline engines are two-stroke ignition engines, which run on standard unleaded gasoline or petrol mixed with two-stroke oil. Make sure that you follow all the safety guidelines provided in the manual of your car or that come with the fuel container, the gasoline, or the two-stroke oil. Wear suitable protective gloves and safety glasses. Never handle the fuel inside any building. Only use approved containers. two-stroke oil is very important for the correct lubrication of the engine. Only use high-quality, fully synthetic two-stroke oil for racing motorcycles, which is available from all motorcycle shops, or the original HPI two-stroke oil. Never use any mineral motor oil or cheap oil for lawnmowers or trimmers, because using the wrong oil could damage the engine. The correct ratio for mixing is 25:1 for gasoline to oil. Take great care when mixing not to spill any fuel. Only use approved fuel containers. Standard 95 octane unleaded gasoline works perfectly fine for general use, while a higher octane rating will only give slightly higher performance. Now fill up the tank of your car using a thin nozzle. The color of the fuel mix will vary depending on the oil you used. For illustration purposes, the oil used here is red. Remember to never leave fuel in the car when stored. Always run the car dry, therefore we recommend to only put as much fuel in as you want to use. One tank will last for approximately 50 minutes. Make sure the tank cap is screwed on tightly. As the car is brand new and the fuel system is filled up for the first time, you will have to prime the engine with a small primer bulb. Press the primer bulb until you see the fuel filling up the primer cap and going into the yellow return tube. When you run the car until empty, you'll have to prime again before the next start. You will not necessarily need to prime the engine every time you want to run the car, but it can sometimes help starting the engine. There is no danger of over-priming the engine. Now it's time to start the engine for the first time. Place the car in a big solid block with the wheels off the ground. Turn on your transmitter first, then the car. The engine normally starts without using the choke. We'll show you how to use the choke later. Keep the choke lever in the horizontal position for now. Start the engine by pulling the pull starter with quick, short strokes. Never pull the starter cord more than 50 centimeters, as this can damage the pull start. To stop the engine, simply press the red engine stop button. If you have trouble starting the car, try using the choke. Move the choke lever to the vertical position. Pull the pull starter cord until you hear the engine almost starting. Then move the choke lever back to the horizontal position and try starting the engine again. It should fire right up. Now we are going to run your Baja for the first time. Make sure the transmitter and receiver are turned on and fully charged. Start the engine again as shown before. The Baja tires are specifically designed for off-road use. We strongly recommend not to run the car on asphalt or tarmac at high speeds. The first time you run your car, you may want to run it on tarmac at low speeds for a short time, just to familiarize yourself with the steering of the car. Please keep in mind that this is a large-scale model with considerable weight. Drive slowly back and forth until you get a feeling for the handling of the car. Then you can take the car off-road. A wide-open grass field is ideal. As you get used to the car, you can start increasing the speed and enjoy driving your HPI large-scale car. We'll now show you some basic maintenance to keep your Baja running to its fullest potential. Complete maintenance guides and parts lists are detailed extensively in your user manual, so you should always refer to this before working on your Baja. Bear in mind that the Baja is a large-scale buggy, and you'll need plenty of space to strip down and keep track of all the parts. When driving off-road, your buggy may get dirty, especially if used in damp conditions. Over time, the air filter builds up dust and dirt, so it needs regular cleaning to ensure maximum performance. The first step is to remove the outer filter and element. To do this, first remove the end clip and twist the end plate away from the air filter assembly. Now, the air filter will pull off. Now you can unclip the air filter outer housing, which will enable you to access the inner filter element. The inner filter element will now easily come away. First, clean the outer filter element. Remove dust and dirt with a brush and clean thoroughly with soap and water. Rinse the filter well and put aside to dry. Now to clean the inner filter element. Rinse with dish soap and water from the inside of the filter to the outside to wash the dirt away. Rinse well and allow to air dry. After the inner filter has dried, you will need to apply air filter oil. This is done by placing the air filter element in a plastic bag with several drops of air filter oil, then work the oil into the air filter using your fingers, making sure it is evenly distributed. Now you can refit the air filter as shown. When refitting the air filter, ensure that there is no gap between the inner filter and the housing. Once the outer filter is refitted, twist on the end plate and secure in place with the clip. If the buggy is run in damp or dirty conditions, the pull start may eventually malfunction. This is caused by contamination from dirt or grit, but is easy to fix by cleaning. To clean the pull start mechanism, you first need to remove it from the engine. To do this, first you need to remove the left rear wheel from the buggy to gain access to the screws that hold on the pull start mechanism. Do this by removing the wheel nut with the wheel wrench. Place the removed wheel under the buggy to support the chassis. You will now have access to the 4 screws that hold on the pull start mechanism. Undo these 4 screws with the supplied Allen key. With the complete pull start mechanism removed, you can see the moving parts of the mechanism. This pull starter is clean and functioning correctly. However, if yours is dirty, the moving parts may not connect with the flywheel. This will make it impossible to start the engine. To clean the mechanism, you need to take it apart. To do this, you need to remove the screw that holds it together. Now you can remove the sliding part of the mechanism so that you can clean the sliding surfaces properly. Remove the screw and metal plates. Remove the sliding part of the pull start mechanism by lifting and twisting in a clockwise direction. Now you can clean the pull start mechanism. Pay special attention to the surfaces that slide over each other. Once you have cleaned the moving parts of the pull start, reassemble it, and then pull the pull start handle to check that it now functions correctly. The sliding part of the pull start should move out from the pull start mechanism. When this part moves outwards, it engages with the flywheel of the engine, allowing the engine to be turned. Before reattaching the pull start mechanism to the engine, it's a good idea to clean the flywheel, paying particular attention to the fins on the flywheel. These fins draw cooling air through the pull start housing, so if they are full of dirt and grass, they will not be as effective and the engine cooling will be reduced. Once you have cleaned the pull start and the flywheel, you should reattach the pull start mechanism to the engine as shown. Ensure the screws are tight and the pull starter is held firmly in place. Finally, reattach the wheel, securing it with the wheel nut. You can adjust the idle settings of the engine with the idle screw. To do this, start the car and apply the brakes with the transmitter. While holding onto the brakes, turn the idle screw with a flat-bladed screwdriver, adjusting the engine idle. Turning the idle screw clockwise will make the revs go up, and turning it counterclockwise will make them go down. You can hear the revs changing while turning the screw. At idle, the engine should run stable at low, constant revs. Unlike nitro engines, the HPI gasoline engines do not need much tuning. The factory engine will provide good performance. However, for optimum performance, you can fine-tune the settings of the carburetor. The carburetor on your HPI gasoline engine has a low-speed and a high-speed needle which control the fuel-air mixture at low and high RPM. Both needles are easily accessible at the top of the carburetor and marked with an L and H. If you have any problems with running the engine, return the needle valves to the following base settings. We'll start with the high-speed needle. Turn the needle clockwise until it is fully closed. Then open 1.5 turns counterclockwise. This is the base setting for the high-speed needle. Now to the low-speed needle. Turn the low-speed needle clockwise until it is fully closed. Then open 1.25 turns counterclockwise. This is the base setting for the low-speed needle. To tune the engine, run the car at base settings for a while to warm it up. The HPI gasoline engine is much more sensitive to carburetor adjustments than nitro engines. Therefore, only turn the needles 1/16 of a turn at a time. Do not make large adjustments. We will adjust the high-speed needle first for maximum performance. Turn the high-speed needle valve 1/16 of a turn clockwise. This makes the fuel mixture become leaner. It contains less fuel and more air. You should notice that this improves performance and top speed of the car. You can continue to do this as long as you see a performance improvement. If there is no improvement, the engine is now running too lean, and you'll have to turn the needle 1/16 of a turn counterclockwise to make the mixture richer. You now have the high-speed needle at its optimum base setting. Be aware that the effects of tuning the carburetor needles are subtle. Be careful not to run the engine too lean, as this will cause damage. Now we will adjust the low-speed needle. This controls the mixture at lower speeds. To adjust the low-speed needle, you will need to run the car with a small amount of throttle applied, as shown. First, run the car for a while with the low-speed needle at the base setting shown earlier. Again, try turning the low-speed needle 1/16 of a turn clockwise to make the mixture leaner. The car should now accelerate quicker. You can continue to do this as long as you see a performance improvement. If you run the car too lean, you will not see an improvement. You may even see a decline in performance. In this case, turn the needle 1/16 of a turn counterclockwise to make the mixture richer. When coming from too lean, you should see an improvement of the acceleration by making the mixture richer. Ideally, the engine will accelerate smoothly and quickly, and the acceleration will not improve if you turn the low-speed needle either way. If you don't feel confident with the settings, remember, it is always safer to run the engine slightly rich. By following the procedure as shown, you will be able to find the best engine settings for your Baja.